Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss about the RRB JE Railway Recruitment Board related to the junior engineers of Computer Science and Information Technology branch. Myself, A.Ramesh, I am here to explain about the Java programming. Java programming syllabus is there for RRB JE Computer Science and Information Technology aspirants. So what is the syllabus is there for the RRB JE aspirants related to the computer science and information technology? First, let us see what is the syllabus prescribed by the RRB JE for the aspirants related to Java programming only. And after that, let us see one topic on Java programming. The topic we are going to discuss today is constructors concept. Before going to see the concept, let us see what is the prescribed syllabus for RRB JE Computer Science and Information Technology aspirants. First one, Java programming related to RRB JE syllabus. The first one in this, the covered syllabus is related to Java and Internet. So what is the first concept here is the support system and environment. Second one is data type, program structures, constants and variables, typecasting, operators, class, how to create the objects, what are the class members, and also related to the constructors, overloading, inheritance, arrays, and creating threads like threads class, thread methods, thread priority, and then thread synchronization is going to be covered related to the threads concept. Next one, we are having the applets concept. Under that, the subtopics will be like executable applet, adding applet to the HTML file, and then passing parameters to applets. These are the topics are there for RRB JE Computer Science and Information Technology under the Java programming subject. Today, in this class, we are going to discuss about the constructors and overloading concept. First of all, let us see what is the need of constructors. First thing, we are focusing on what is the need of constructors. So here, suppose, let us assume we have a class. That class is for related to the student class. What the student will contain? If we consider a student, student will be having one name, student will be having the roll number, student will be having some age, he will take the exams. Like that, there are different attributes related to the student, if we consider student as an object. So here, in this session, first of all, the need of constructors. To discuss the need of constructors, the first thing, let us see a simple program, simple Java program related to a student class. For example, here I am taking only the student name and roll number, and after that, how to display the student name and roll number, how it will be, that concept let us see. Through that, let us enter into the constructors concept. First of all, let me take a class. The class name is student. Class is student. And then in this class, we are having the first one is roll number. If we consider the roll number will be of integer type. And then if we consider the name, student name, how the student name will be? Student name is of string type normally. So here I have taken two instance variables under the class called student class. That is my intention. Now I would like to display the roll number and name by the help of a method called the display method. If I take display method and I don't want to return anything, here just I am using void as the return type. Void display. Inside this just I am taking one system dot out dot println to display roll number and the name. So to display the name also we have to take system dot out dot println and then name we are displaying. I'm closing this one. So to access this display method, we need an object. Just I am creating one object here. So how to create the object? What is the syntax to create the object is class name space object name is equal to new class name. So that is the syntax to create an object. So here what is my class name? Student is my class name. So that I am creating that inside the main method. How the main method will be in the Java is like public static void main string args of an array, and inside this let us create the object for the class student class. How it will be is student space s1 is equal to new student. So here I have created one object. What is my object name is s1 is the object name. How I have created that? By using the class name that is student. Student space s1 is equal to new student parenthesis and semicolon I have used. Now it is going to create an object. So how it is going to create an object? In the heap memory the objects will be available in so and so address location. For example s1 is referring to that. So whatever the members like roll number, name, display, all will be there inside it. Whenever we have created the object, immediately the roll number and name are going to be assigned with the values with the help of a default constructor. So here s1 I have. So what are the values to be initialized here is default values of the data types related here. The data type is integer. We are having integer here. What is the default value of an integer? That will be assigned to the roll number. And after that string name we have used here. Name is of string type. What is the default value of the string? Is null. Means here roll number is equal to 0 and name is equal to null will be assigned to the object s1. Suppose if I have created one more object like student space s2 is equal to new student. Now tell me what are the values to be assigned like roll number and name of the object s2 or student 2. Let us consider. For student 1 we have discussed like roll number of s1 is 0 and name of the s1 is also null. Similarly for even if we have created s2 also, the name and roll number are going to be same because the default values are going to be provided. We have not assigned any value or else we have not provided any value to that object, so that whatever the default values of roll number and name means roll number is of integer type and name is of string type, so that the particular default values will be initialized to that particular object instance variables. Now, S1 we have created and also S2. Like this, in our class, suppose there are 60 students. For 60 students, if we have created 60 objects, in that case also, all the students are going to get what is the roll number? 0. And what is the name? Is null. Like this only. Means, from this, we have not provided any value. So, how to do that? Means, suppose for S1, if I would like to give one number and name, I have to do explicitly like S1 dot roll number is equal to, for example, 501. And S1 dot name is equal to, for example, Ramesh. Suppose if we have assigned the values like S1 dot roll number is equal to 501, S1 dot name is equal to Ramesh, in that case, in the object S1, the name is going to be Ramesh, name is going to be Ramesh, and the roll number is going to be 501. For the student 2, for the object 2, S2 also we have to do the same thing, like assigning. S2 dot roll number is equal to 502. S2 dot name is equal to Suresh. Like that, we have to assign the values explicitly. For 60 students, if we do the same thing, it is going to waste lot of time. To solve this problem, whenever we are creating the object like this, student space S1 is equal to new student, at that time of creation, if the object is initialized the instance variables automatically, then it will be very nice. So to do that work, we have the concept called constructors concept. Are you able to understand what we have did in this case? Just we have taken two instance variables, one method, and then inside the main method, we started creating the objects. In that case, for each and every object, we have assigned the values like S1 dot roll number is equal to 501, S1 dot name is equal to Ramesh, like that we have assigned. In this case, if we have called like S1 dot display, then it is going to give us the output as 501 and Ramesh. That output we are going to get in this case for only one object, that is S1. We have to do that same thing for S2, S3 and so on S60 if there are 60 students in the class. To solve this problem, we have the concept called constructors. Let us see that concept in detail now. Let us see that. So here we have to close the main method and also we have to close the class. Inside that, if you are interested, you can keep the object S2, like S2 dot roll number is equal to 502, S2 dot name is equal to some name like Suresh, and then S2 dot display, then you will get the output for that particular thing is 501 Ramesh, and then for the object S2 also we will get 502 and Suresh as the output. For 60 students, we have to do the same thing. So to solve this problem, we have the constructors concept. Let us see that constructors concept quickly. The first one, what is the constructor is? A constructor is a special method of a class that has the same name as the class name. Here the most important and valuable point, that constructor is like a method, but it is a special kind of method. And what is the condition here is, method name we can take on our own. Method name is user choice. You can take any name. But whereas the constructor name, what is the constructor name? Same name as the class name. That is the most important point. Second one, what is the job of the constructor? A constructor initializes the instance variables of an object. That is the work done with the help of the constructor. Right? If you have explicitly provided or if you have implemented one constructor, based on your implementation, your instance variables inside the class are going to be automatically initialized. By whom? By the help of the constructor. What is the constructor? Constructor name is same as the class name. Constructor is a special kind of a method. And then what is the job of the constructor? Constructor is used to initialize the instance variables of an object. Next point, if we consider, the constructor gets executed automatically, an object is created. While creation of the object itself, the constructor execution is going to be started. Just now we have seen one statement called s1.display. Display is the method. To call that method, what we have did? We have called that by the help of object reference. How we have did that? s1.display. s1.display, we have written the statement explicitly. That's why display method is executed. Whereas the constructor is not like that. Constructor is going to be executed automatically while creation of the object itself. That is the beauty of the constructor. Yes. Next one, it does not require the explicit method call. Just now we have discussed like s1.display. Explicitly we are calling the method. Whereas the constructor, it does not require the explicit method call. Next one, a constructor may have parameters and access specifiers too. So here one important point we have to keep in our mind, that a constructor, to the constructor we can provide the, we can pass the arguments. So inside the constructor we can have the parameters also. Right? So along with the constructor we can have the access specifiers. What are the access specifiers are there in Java? Like public, private, protected and default. There are 4 access specifiers in Java. So those access specifiers we can put in front of the constructor. So along with the constructor we can use the access specifiers. That is the most important point. Now the next one, it cannot have return type. It cannot have return type means if we consider a method, how the method can be taken is, it will be having the access specifier, return type, method name and optional parameters, and it will be having the body. What we have seen in the first line itself, a constructor is a special method. To the methods we are having the return type. We can use any return type. If we don't want to return any value, in that case at least we have to provide void as the return type. But whereas whenever we are using the constructor, we should not use the return type. So along with the constructor we can use the access specifiers, but along with the constructor we should not use the return type. If we have not provided any return type, in that case what is the return type from the constructor? That question should come into our mind. So in the case of method, at least one return type we have to use, at least void we have to use in the case of method. But whereas if we are using the constructor, we should not use, or the constructor cannot have return value. In that case what is going to be returned, or at least what is the return type of the constructor? The return type of the constructor is same as the class type only. What is that? A constructor return type is same as the class type. That is the point. Next one, it cannot be abstract, static, final and synchronized. Means while creation of the object itself, the constructor execution is going to be started. Means it should not be static. Once if we have promised to use the constructor, in that case, the constructor, whatever the variables we are using, all are going to be initialized automatically. If it is abstract, this work will not done. That's why it cannot be abstract. That is the important point. It cannot be static and it cannot be final. Once anything is kept with the final, like if it is the variable, if we have used final, in that case that variable is going to become the constant. If we have used the final in front of the method, in that case, the overriding will not be possible. If we have used final in front of the class, inheritance is not possible. So, while using the constructor, we must be very, very careful that the constructor should not be abstract, it cannot be static, it cannot be final, and also it cannot be synchronized. Synchronized means at a time only one thread can access the object, whereas we can create multiple objects. While creation of the object itself, the constructor execution is going to start. If we kept synchronized, it will not work. That's why constructor cannot be abstract, cannot be static, cannot be final, and cannot be synchronized. Yes. Next, if we consider, if you do not provide any constructor, the compiler automatically creates a default constructor. Just now we have seen one simple program related to student. In that student class, what we have used? We have taken two instance variables. What are the two instance variables we have used? The two instance variables we have used are roll number and name we have used. And one method we have used, that is display method. But while creation of the object itself, the constructor is going to be executed, but there is no constructor in our previous class. Then, in that case, how the instance variables are initialized at least with the default values? That is by the help of this default constructor. Who has provided this default constructor? You can see here, if you do not provide any constructor, the compiler automatically creates a default constructor. Means without any implementation, automatically the Java compiler is going to provide one default constructor. What is the job of that default constructor is, it will initialize the instance variables with the default values. Next. So just now we have seen what are the rules of the constructor. Constructor name is same as the class name. Constructor is a special kind of the method. Constructor initializes the instance variables. Like that, we have seen different rules for the constructor. It should not return any value, means we should not use any return type along with the constructor. We can use the access specifier along with the constructor, and the constructor should not be static, abstract, final, synchronized, like that we have seen. So if we have not used any constructor inside our class, then by default the Java compiler is going to provide one default constructor like that we have seen. Now let us see what are the different kinds or different types of constructors are there in Java. We are having explicitly two kinds of constructors. The two kinds of constructors are one with no arguments, second one with parameterized constructor. So just now we have seen the Java compiler provides the default constructor. Now we are talking about the types of Java constructors like no arguments constructor and parameterized constructor. These two we are going to provide inside the class. At least without any parameters we can use one constructor. With parameters we can use one constructor. So let us see how the default constructor is going to work And after that, let us enter into the no arguments and parameterized constructors one by one. First one, if we consider the default constructor, means who will provide the default constructor? Java compiler will provide the default constructor, right? So Java compiler provides the default constructor. In which case it is going to provide? Here we have the class called A, and it is having two instance variables like int A string n, and then we are using one method called display method, and after that what is the value of A and what is the value of n, just we are printing value of A plus A, value of n plus n, like that we are printing. And after that, inside the main method, we are creating one object like A space OA is equal to new A, and then we are calling the display method OA.display. What is the output of this program? And what we are doing here? Please remember in your mind that always the execution of the Java program starts from the main method. Always the execution of the Java program starts from the main method. In this case, from where the execution is going to start? From the main method, the execution is going to start. So what is there in the first line? A space OA is equal to new A. A space OA is equal to new A means one object is going to be created, and what is the return type of it? OA. So here, to which class we have created the object? To the class name called A. What are the instance variables are there in it? One is the variable A, and the second one is one string like n is there. One variable A is of integer type, and the second one is one variable n is of string type. And now A space OA is equal to new A. Whenever we have written this statement, we must be very careful here that new A. New is the operator which allocates the memory for the object. And then here we are using the class name A, along with that parenthesis we are using. Means A with parenthesis, it is the constructor calling. But in our class there is no constructor. Then who will provide? Java compiler? Yes, Java compiler provides the default constructor. That's why we are not passing any arguments from here. A only, without any arguments. In this case, what is the job of the default constructor? It provides the default values to the instance variables. A is of integer type, so that what is the default value of A is 0, and n is of string type. What is the default value of the string is null. So these two will be assigned to OA. And after that, inside this we have the method called display method. Display method. Now OA.display, from here OA.display we are calling, right? The display method, from here it is going to be executed, the display method. And what is there in the first line? System.out.println value of A, means the output we are going to get for this program is value of A colon plus A, and it will come back. Who called this display method? Called, that is the reference variable. OA.display means to OA, what is the A value? 0. 0 will be printed. Next, after that, value of n. So that in the second line, after execution of it, it will go to the second line, and value of n is, what is the n value here? Null. And after the second line, there is no statement to be executed, so that the control will come back to the next line. But there is no line, so that what is the output of this program is like this. How the execution will be done in Java. Let me introduce that also. Means whatever the program we have written, the first thing what we have to do is we have to compile the Java program. So how to compile the Java program? Let us see here. How to compile the Java program is by using one command called javac space file name dot java. So what is here? Javac space file name dot java. For example, let us assume this program is saved with a.java. In that case, how we can compile? Like javac space a.java. If there is no error in the program, automatically the control will come back to the next line. And how to execute the Java program? Means javac space a.java means we are compiling that. If we are compiling the Java program, what is the output of that is actually javac is the command to compile the Java program. Who will compile the Java program is compiler will compile that. Means one source code like .java file will be given to the Java compiler, and then this Java compiler will provide the .class file. Means in this program we are having one class, that is class A. Means a.class. If we have compiled this program with javac space a.java, in that case what is going to be happened is, if there is no error inside it, it is going to create the .class file, also called as the bytecode. How this bytecode is going to be is, it is going to create one file called a.class, right? A.class. After compilation, we can execute the Java program. How to execute the Java program? To execute the Java program, we have the command called java space class name, java space class name. Java space class name. In our program, what is the class name? A. Means we must be very careful in Java. In each program, we may have more than one class also. In that case, which class name we have to give to execute the Java program? Whatever the class is having the main method, that class name we have to give. Here in this example, we are having only one class. That's why we can give only that class name, that is A we can give. Means Java. So to compile this, to execute this program, Java space A we have to use. Java space A. If we have used this command Java space A, then we will get the output like this. So here our concentration is like A space OA is equal to new A. This is the statement. Actually we are calling the constructor without any arguments, but there is no constructor in our program. In this case, who will provide the constructor is Java compiler will provide the default constructor. That is the most important point, right? So, and if we have executed this program, we will get the output according to the default values of the variables which we have declared inside the class as instance variables, right? Now, let us see the next one. After the default constructor, actually we have discussed that there are two kinds of constructors. What are the two kinds of constructors we have displayed? Actually, the first one is the constructor without any arguments, means no arguments constructor, and the second one is parameterized constructor. Now let us see the first one, no arguments constructor. How the no argument constructor is going to be? Suppose if we don't define a constructor in a class, just now we have seen one example. In that example, we have not defined or implemented any constructor in that. In that case, what happened is, then the compiler creates a default constructor with no arguments for the class. And if we write a constructor with arguments or no arguments, then the compiler does not create a default constructor. Means, like the default constructor, if we have given one constructor explicitly in our program, or even we can have the constructor with parameters also. Whatever the method or whatever the constructor type we have used, in that case, compiler will not provide the default constructor. What is the point we have covered here is, in which case the default constructor is going to be provided. The default constructor is provided by the Java compiler if there is no constructor defined by the developer. Right? So, the developer can provide two kinds of constructor. One is no arguments constructor and the second one is parameterized constructor. If it is the no arguments constructor, then how it will be? Let us see the same thing. Class space no args const means the class name is no args cons, and then here also we have used two variables. One is a is of integer type, another one is n is of string type. And the constructor we are taking, what is the constructor name? What is the rule for the constructor name? Constructor name must be the class name. Constructor is a special method, means while seeing this no args cons is with parenthesis, normally we will be having the methods. But if it is the method, in that case we will write the return type also. Whereas if we have taken the constructor, we no need to provide any return type in front of the constructor name. So what is the point we have covered here? Constructor name is same as the class name. Constructor name is same as the class name, and there is no return type. We no need to use any return type. So optionally we can use the access specifiers also. Here I have not provided any access specifier. In that case, the default access specifier is going to be provided. Next, after that, system.out.println no arguments constructor. No arguments constructor. So inside the constructor without any arguments, just we have taken one statement that no arguments constructor. We would like to display that. Next, after that we are taking the method like display. In the display, value of a and then value of n, we would like to print that, and closing. And also inside the main method, we try to create the object for no args cons, means it is the class name. How we will create the object? Object will be created like using the syntax class name space object name is equal to new class name. So here no args cons is the class name, and then OA is the object name is equal to new no args cons is the class name along with the parenthesis, means it is the constructor calling. So whenever we have written this statement, or whenever we have taken this statement no args cons space OA is equal to new no args cons, means this new operator will allocate the memory for the object inside the heap memory, and then no args cons with parenthesis means it is going to call the constructor without any arguments, because here we have not used any argument, so that it is going to check the constructor without any arguments is available or not. And then OA.display. Let us see how this is going to be executed. So noargs cons space OA is equal to new noargs cons. In this case, one object will be created, and what is the reference variable is OA, and inside this what are the variables we have? A we have, and the second one what we have? N we have. A is of integer type and N is of string type. Along with that we have the display method and also a constructor without any arguments. Now if we have taken this statement, one object will be created. While creation of this object itself, no args cons with parenthesis, whenever the JVM sees this, immediately it will go to the constructor without any arguments and it executes that statements. Means system.out.println, no arguments constructor. First output we will get for this one. If we have compiled and executed, what is the output we are going to get is no arguments constructor. No arguments constructor. So this one is going to execute whatever the statements inside, all those will be executed. And after that, the compiler, here the compiler will not provide any default constructor because we have used one constructor explicitly, so that new noargs cons, whenever it sees, it is going to execute those statements, and after execution of it, the JVM or the control will come back to here, OA.display. Next one is OA.display. Means it is called that no arguments constructor is displayed. While doing that, what is the job of the constructor? It will provides the, or it will initializes the instance variables automatically. But we are not assigning any values inside the constructor, so that whatever the default values of A and N are going to be provided like 0 and then null only in this case. Again, if we are calling OA.display, the display method is going to be executed, and what we are having, value of A. What is the A value here? You can see here 0, and then value of N. What is the N value? Null it is going to provide. Null it is going to provide. So if we have executed this program, what is the output we are going to get is no arguments constructor, value of A colon 0, value of N is null. So this is one case. Means the constructor without any arguments. Right? Next, let us see one more way the same program, like for example, if we have done inside the noargs cons, like A is equal to for example, if we have the statement like A is equal to 10 semicolon, N is equal to Ramesh. N is of string type, that's why I am using double quotations here, semicolon. N is equal to Ramesh. Means, so how the execution and what would be the output of this program, let us understand once again. Case 2 means noargs cons, always the execution of the Java program starts from the main method. It is very clear. So execution is going to start from here. Noargs cons, OA is equal to new noargs cons, means OA is the reference variable to the object. Let me take once again. OA and the object, what are the instance variables are A and N we are having. A is equal to and N is equal to, just I am taking, and one method we are having, that is display method we are having. right? Now, if we are having no args cons OA is equal to new no args cons, means while creation of the object itself, the execution of the constructor is going to start. And here what we have taken, actually A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh, like that we have taken. Let me take once again, that is N is equal to Ramesh. A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh. Suppose if we have executed this one, automatically the constructor is going to be executed and the output will be like, and how the execution will be is, no arguments constructor. So it is there in the system.out.println, that's why it will be printed as it is. And after that we are having A is equal to 10, so that who is called that constructor? OA, with object reference OA is called that, so that in OA, what is the A value we are assigning? A is equal to 10, that's why 10 will be initialized, and then N is equal to Ramesh, so that N is equal to Ramesh is also assigned, like this. Now, if we have, means these statements are finished and then control will comes back to the next line in the main method, that is OA.display. Again the control will goes to the display method and it starts executing here. System.out.println value of A colon. What is the A value? Actually this display method is called by the reference variable OA, so that it is going to check what is the value inside A. A is equal to 10, right? So that value of A will be printed with the value 10, and then next statement what we are having, value of N. N, what is the N value? Ramesh is there. It will be printed as Ramesh. Simply Ramesh will be printed. Value of N, Ramesh. Means the output for this program is going to be no arguments constructor, because inside the constructor we have the println no arguments constructor, that will be printed as it is. And then for this OA reference variable, A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh, both are initialized by the constructor automatically. That work is done. That's why whenever this OA is called the display method, it is going to print what are the A and N values inside the object reference OA. Those are going to be printed, and the output for this program is going to be like this. Value of A 10, value of N Ramesh, like that we will get the output. What is the difference between previous case and this case is, in this case we are assigning the values inside the constructor, while creation of the object itself those values are initialized. Suppose if I have created one more object, let us see case 3. I am taking one more object here inside the main method itself. How it is going to be? For example, our class name is noargscons, right? So how to create the object? Class name space object name is equal to new class name. So noargscons space OA1 is equal to new noargscons. So this is the statement. OA1 is equal to new noargscons, and then I am calling OA1 dot display this also. Let us see how the execution or output of this program is going to be. For these two lines we have already seen. The output is going to be like this. Next, what we are doing? We have added two lines. Noargscons space OA1 is equal to new noargscons, means one more object is going to be created. What is the reference variable here? The reference variable is OA1, means this object is created and the reference variable is OA1. And what are the instance variables inside it? Same, A, because the class name is same, A and N, and also it is having one method, that is display method, right? While creation of the object itself, the constructor is going to be executed. Once again, the constructor is going to start executing. Means, what is the first line? No arguments constructor, that will be printed. No arguments, no arguments constructor, no arguments constructor. And after that, what we have? A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh. Actually, who called? To which object we are creating? OA1 we are creating. While creation of the object itself, the constructor is going to be executed. So in this case, A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh. N is equal to Ramesh. Means for OA1 also, same initialization is done. Yes? Suppose if I have displayed OA1.display, if I have called this method, then what will be happened is value of A, what is there in OA1? 10 is there, and value of N, second line this one, value of N, what is the N value here? Ramesh. For the object OA and OA1, we are getting the same output, because inside the constructor itself, we are assigned the values like A is equal to 10 and N is equal to Ramesh. Not only these two objects, if you create 100 objects, 1000 objects, for all the objects, the output is going to be same. So to solve this problem, we are having the next constructor, that is parameterized constructor. Let us see that concept. So no arguments constructor. So what are the points to be noted here is, whenever we are using no arguments constructor, while creation of the object itself, it will be executed. Once if we are implementing the no arguments constructor, the Java compiler will not provide the default constructor. That is the important point. If there is no constructor, either no arguments constructor or parameterized constructor, in that case only the default constructor is going to be provided by the Java compiler. In this case, the default constructor will not be provided. That point we have seen. Now, let us see the next one, that is parameterized constructor. The parameterized constructor, a constructor that has parameters, is known as parameterized constructor. So while implementing the constructor itself, if we have provided the parameters along with the constructor, then that constructor is also called as the parameterized constructor. Next one, if we want to initialize fields of the class with our own values, then use a parameterized constructor. Means, for the first object, 501, some Ramesh. Second object, 502, Suresh. 503, Sunny. Like that, if we would like to initialize the values or object instance variables separately for each and every object, in that case, what is the suitable constructor is parameterized constructor. Once again, if we want to initialize fields of the class with our own values, then use a parameterized constructor. Let us see one simple program on the parameterized constructor, how it will be. So here I have taken the class name is paracons and the instance variables are A and N. And here I have taken the constructor with two parameters. What are the two parameters here? X of integer type and N1 is of string type. Right? And then inside this constructor, we are initializing or we are assigning the parameters with the instance variables. So here a and n both are instance variables belongs to the object. So a is equal to x, whatever the parameter x is having the value, we are assigning that to a. And then n is equal to n1, whatever this n1 value, that will be assigned to the instance variable n. And then we have the display method. Inside this display method, same thing we are doing, that is value of a, and what is the value actually, and then value of n, and n value exactly what is there that we would like to print. And then let us see here, we are creating one constructor, para cons. OA is equal to new para cons. What we are doing here? Here we are creating one object, and while creation of the object itself, we are calling the two parameterized constructor. Whenever we are using it, it is going to check whether we are having two parameterized constructor in our class or not. This paracons class is having two parameterized constructor or not. It is going to be checked. Yes, there is the two parameterized constructor. And what is the order? First one is of integer type, second one is of string type. Whether we are providing like that or not. Yes, 501, it is the integer, Ramesh is the string. With that, the two parameterized constructor is going to be called. Exactly what is going to be happened here? One object will be created with the name OA. Let us see that. Paracons OA is equal to new paracons 501 comma Ramesh. Means OA is the reference variable. OA is the reference variable, and one object it is going to create. New is the operator which is used to allocate the memory for the object inside the heap memory. And then paracons 501 comma Ramesh means inside this object what are the instance variables we are having? A is there and also n. What is the a value, n value? And then we are having one method called display method. Display method. Now paracons 501 comma Ramesh means if we are having the constructor, when the constructor is going to be executed, while creation of the object itself, means new paracons, while creation of the object itself, the constructor is going to be executed. Means this x will be having the value 501, it will be substituted with the value 501, and what about this n1? N1 is Ramesh. These two. And this A will be assigned with the value 501. Same thing. Who is called this? Or to which object it is creating? It is initializing for OA. Means OA. What is the A value? A is equal to x. X is equal to 501. And what about the next one? N is equal to N1. What is N1 here? Ramesh is N1. Means n is equal to Ramesh will be there. And so the initialization is done and the control will come back to the next line. What is the next line here? OA.display. OA.display means it is going to call the display method and it starts executing. System.out.println. If we consider the output for the program, then value of A, what is the A value? So the object is OA. In OA, what is the A value we are having? 501. That's why 501 will be printed. Next one, value of n. So let us see value of n. What is the n value here? Ramesh is the n value. So means here we have used the parameterized constructor, two parameterized constructor. That's why automatically the instance variable a and n both are initialized inside it, and exactly for a 501 and for n Ramesh we have got as the output. Means even we have printed oa.display, and inside display value of a is 501, value of n Ramesh, like that we have got. For example, I would like to create the another object, second object. Suppose second object I am creating. Let us see that also. Para cons OB is equal to new paracons, new paracons 502 comma Suresh, 502 comma Suresh. In this case, what is going to be happen? One question for you. Paracons OB is equal to new paracons, means second object is going to be created. How this second object will be created? Means second object, inside the object we are having a, and also we are having the variable n, right? And what we are having, we have the method called display, and this object is going to be referenced with the help of OB. OB is equal to new paracons 502 comma Suresh. Means while creation of the object, as we know, while creation of the object itself, the values 502 comma Suresh will be passed to here. Now x will be having the value 502 and n1 will be having Suresh as the name. Now inside it, what is there? A is equal to x. A of OB will be assigned with 502 and n of OB will be assigned with Suresh. Right? Now the initialization is done. The control will come back to the next line. Suppose if we are having the next line is ob.display. ob.display. In this case, what is going to be happened? ob.display. Again, the display will be executed. Inside it, what we are having? Value of a. Value of a. Now it is belongs to which object? OB. Value of a. So value of a is going to be what? For OB, what is the a value? 502. 502 will be printed, and then next one, value of n will be printed with Suresh. Like that, the parameterizer constructor will be used. So in this session, what we have seen, what is the constructor or what is the need of constructor we have seen. And after that, we have seen what are the rules related to the constructor. Once again, what are the rules of the constructor? Are constructor name is same as the class name. Constructor job is to initialize the instance variables automatically while creation of the object. And constructor is the special kind of method, but it is not having any return type, but it will be having the access specifier. And the constructor should not be abstract, static, synchronized or final. Like that we have seen, and we have seen the examples related to it are so under the constructor, what are the questions previously asked? Let us see one question. In Java, which unit of the class gets called when the object of the class is created? What is this? In Java, which unit of the class gets called when the object of the class is created? In JE, RRB JE 2014, Green Shift, they have asked this question. The options are, one is a destructor, B constructor, C detractor, D contractor. What is the answer for this one? Just now we have discussed that the constructor is going to be created while creation of the object itself. Means in Java, which unit of the class gets called when the object of the class is created? Yes, which one will be executed, or which one will be called? The constructor will be called. There is no destructor concept in Java. There is no detractor or contractor. So the constructor is the correct answer. Next, one more question related to the constructors. Which is true of constructors in Java? In RRB JE 2014, Redshift, they have asked this question. So the first option is, they have the same name as the class and have no return type. Class name is, means the constructor name is same as the class name, and along with the constructor we should not use any return type. Second option, if we see, they can take a parameter that is of the same class type. They can take a parameter that is of the same class type. Means even while using the parameterized constructor, in the place of parameters, not only the primitive types, even we can use the class type, same class type also a parameter type. Next, if no constructor is defined for a class, the compiler supplies a default constructor. Is it right? Yes. If no constructor is defined for a class, the compiler supplies a default constructor. By seeing these three options, all the three options are correct. So what would be the answer for this question? The answer for this question is D. So in this session, we have seen about the constructor, and also we have discussed about what is the syllabus under the Java, and then we have seen constructor concept in this class. Thank you.